Is Julia Bue-Said, who is CEO at Advantage Travel Partnership. It's the UK's largest independent travel agent and travel management company consortium. Hi there, Julia.
Hi, good evening, Chloe.
Now, as you hear that conversation I was having there with Steve Swinford about the article in tomorrow's Times, what do you make of what you're hearing?
Quite a lot there. So I think the first positive news is that there is a potential of opening up of international travel with the exemption for double vaccinated people to travel this summer from amber countries. So I think that in context of what that looks like, we have to take as positive, because obviously at the moment we're pretty much grounded and travel is really not for anybody right now, given the amount of restrictions that are in place. So I think on the face of it, obviously there's a lot to understand in that, but I think on the face of it, there is definitely some positive news that we would take away from that for sure.
And what difference would it make if this is brought in from, discussions about whether it's August or September? Let's talk about August first of all. I mean, would that effectively save the summer for the travel industry?
I think that's quite a broad statement. I think for the travel industry, if we remember, actually, we've gone for 15 months with no income and no trading. So actually, it doesn't save the industry, but it certainly helps to bridge a bit of a hole that there's there. So it's definitely something that we would welcome, certainly something for us to be able to work with. But it's a really tough time. I mean, you talked a bit with Stephen there about the industry. It's a really tough time. The industry's been absolutely decimated and is really struggling and absolutely on the brink and on its knees. So anything that really enables travel to restart, but in a meaningful, safe manner, is certainly something that would be welcomed by everybody in the industry.
What difference would it make if these plans were put back to September, when the children, or the majority of children, have gone back to school?
It would be too little too late. I mean, it's already very tough if you take some of the devolved nations. Scotland, they break up for holidays this Friday, so their summer's effectively gone. September's just too late. The summer needs to happen for the industry. It needs to happen in a safe way, and we believe it can. We absolutely believe through the framework that was introduced, which unfortunately the government effectively reneged on at the first hurdle with Portugal, enabled safe travel to restart with full mitigation. You couldn't step back on a plane before coming back into the UK without a test, and all the other tests that would go with that. So we absolutely are confident that using the framework as it was intended, allowing international travel to restart, it could be done safely. But if summer doesn't happen, and if we do not get international off the ground in a meaningful manner, it would just be too late. There'll be too many businesses that will not survive, and many more thousands of jobs that, on top of those that have already been lost, will be lost.
What do you make of how the government has dealt with this and communicated with the travel industry?
It's a really difficult one. I think, Chloe, when it comes to international travel, I think none of us are naive to understand that we've got to be working very closely with the government, and the way that international travel policy works alongside government's political agenda can be quite conflicted at times. What we do not get, and one of the things that the industry has really been crying out for, is real transparency and open communication. Unfortunately, the industry doesn't get any more communication than we get. We get it when it's in the public domain. That's the first time we hear about it. And you just effectively can't plan, you can't manage a business that way. There is no transparency around data. So we do not see any of the data that the government sees around why they're making decisions. We see, for example, test and trace data that comes out, and it showed for a period, for a couple of weeks on all the red, amber and green list countries, how many tests were conducted, how many variants came, that came through from that and analysed. And actually, we look at that data and it shows minimal. Amber and green had no variants of concern, and yet the government take Portugal off the green list. So it becomes very difficult to make decisions and be able to work with government in a transparent way. But we have been engaging through the Global Travel Task Force and other meetings, but effectively we've come up to a bit of a wall, and unfortunately the government won't allow those bricks to fall down, and we absolutely need to.
You sound very measured, but this must have been an incredibly stressful, trying time For anybody, I mean, just yourself, how difficult has it been able to cope over the last year, 18 months?
Well, my new phrase that I've adopted is life-changing stress, and I'm measured because I've been taught to be measured. But I'm not measured when I put the phone down. I can assure you, and it's very difficult because we have a lot of people that have I've got members that have lost businesses. I've got members that have lost their homes. I've got so every time we talk about holidays, for me, it's not about a holiday, and it's certainly not for our industry. It's about people's lives, people's livelihoods, and people reuniting their families. We've got people across the world that haven't seen family members for 18 months. It's not just about the pleasures in life, which unfortunately the government have made people feel that they are bad because they want to travel. They're bad people because they want a holiday, and that's absolutely not the case. It's a very judgmental term when it comes to wanting to travel, but businesses rely on travel. Clients rely on seeing their customers. Businesses rely on seeing their clients, and families want to see each other. They just happen to be spread across the world, and our industry enables that to happen, and we've not been allowed to do that. And unfortunately, we are a forgotten industry. We absolutely are. 15 months without any support, any recognised support for industry that's been decimated, and it's very difficult to get MPs and ministers to truly understand that. Just one thing, Chloe, I do want to mention, we've got a travel day of action taking place on Wednesday. It's a cross-full nation approach where we're really encouraging everyone that works in the industry to lobby their MPs, to get their MPs talking to them so they can really understand what it means to them that international travel has not been able to recover. Not even recover, but not nowhere near that. So we're really calling on everyone to support. And we've had some great support from some MPs, but not enough. And unfortunately, not enough want to listen and get involved. And it's really important they understand this isn't just about holidays. It's about industries on its knees, people whose lives have been devastated, and people who are apart and want to be reunited after many, many months apart.
Julia, thank you for your time this evening. It's a pleasure. Julia Bue-Said, who is CEO at Advantage Travel Partnership.